Chapter 1161 Jealousy. Previously, Ji Wuxin was afraid of He Pingxing. After all, he had lost both of his open and covert struggles with He Pingxing. But now that he sees He Pingxing become someone else's servant, he instantly looks down on He Pingxing. Why? How much success can one achieve in this life if one becomes someone else's servant? Let's not talk about the future, let's talk about the present. Once you become a servant, bound by the master-servant rules of heaven, you lose the willpower to fight against heaven and strive upwards. If you remove fighting strength and willpower, your combat power will decrease by at least 10%. In a battle between masters, a slight difference can lead to a huge error. Even if He Pingxing lost 10% or even 0.5% of his fighting strength, Ji Wuxin felt that He Pingxing would never be his match. Alright, enough of this noise. The hidden sword Taoist gave He Pingxing a deep look, a hint of regret in his eyes, then flicked his sleeves and said, "Come here, all of you. I have something to tell you all." Yes. Everyone gathered around the sword-hidden Taoist. The hidden sword Daoist said, "This secret realm was discovered by the Coral Fairy. Later, it took 5 of us golden immortals to open this golden palace gate. However, there is a very special formation inside this palace gate that prohibits cultivators above the Earth Immortal stage from setting foot inside. We tried it before, and only disciples at the Earth Immortal and Human Immortal stages can enter. But if someone has mediocre talent, they probably won't last long inside and will easily be injured by the various dangers in this great tomb. After several discussions, we have made the decision to send 6 Earth Immortal level geniuses into the cave to search for the ancient demonic treasures. After going around in circles, this task has finally fallen to the 6 of you." Looking at the 6 people in front of him, the hidden sword Taoist continued, "The rules are very simple. When you 6 enter this underground palace, you will be in competition with each other. Whoever gets the item keeps it. The principle is simple. Once the item is in hand, no one else can continue to steal it." Did you hear that? Yes. The 6 men bowed. The hidden sword Daoist continued, "At the same time, any items with attack attributes higher than the 2nd rank are not allowed to be brought in. I'll say it again, items with attack attributes higher than grade 2 are not allowed inside. Did you understand? Defense-type attacks are unrestricted." The crowd replied again, "Yes." "All right," said the hidden sword Daoist. "Now, take out all the items you have with attack attributes higher than grade 2. Don't worry, we won't covet your belongings." He Pingxing thought for a moment and took out more than a dozen 3rd-grade Chaos Immortal talismans. Aside from this, He Pingxing really didn't have anything more offensive than a 2nd-rank item. Even the primordial purple gold cudgel on his body, if shown to others, would only be a 2nd-grade weapon. After He Pingxing, the others also took out their own items, including magical artifacts and magical talismans. In short, everyone has contributed something, more or less. It's not surprising that these prodigies possess items beyond their level. After all, they are prodigies. All right. Hidden sword Daoist continued, "I'll give you one more chance. If anyone inside uses offensive immortal artifacts or talismans that exceed their level, and is seen doing so, I'll kill them instantly when they come out. You guys don't have any objections, right? Of course, words alone are not enough. We need evidence. If there's anything you've been hiding, you can still hand it over now." Fang Long glanced at the others, then took out an offensive immortal weapon and presented it to the hidden sword Daoist. "All right." Hidden sword Taoist said with a smile, "It's good that you've handed it over. But there's one thing I need to remind you of. You can attack each other during the struggle for the treasure. Your life and death depend on your own abilities. However, once someone gets the treasure, the others can no longer make a move. If anyone violates the ban, I will kill them without hesitation. All right, now all of you step back, we're going to open this barrier." After saying that, the hidden sword Taoist took a step forward and arrived in front of the Golden Palace Gate. The remaining Celestial Deer Lord, Celestial Dragon Lord, Celestial Coral Lord, and the female Immortal in purple all came to the back of Celestial Sword Lord. The stone-picking Immortal also stepped forward. Rumble. The 6 of them made their move, unleashing the 5 elements' great Tao technique. The power of the laws and rules between heaven and earth appeared from the void like chains. These magical techniques trapped the massive array of light membranes. About 2 breaths later, a round vortex-like gap appeared on the array's light membrane. Hidden Sword Taoist shouted, "Quickly enter! Ji Wuxin, make sure you don't lose the communication talisman, and report the situation inside immediately." Yes. Ji Wuxin was the first to plunge into the vortex. Then, He Pingxing, Wen Buan, Fang Long, Huang Yusha, and the unknown woman in purple followed suit and went inside. Buzzing. Upon seeing the 6 people enter, the golden immortals withdrew the magical spells they had cast upon them. The light membrane returned to its original state and then disappeared, leaving only a golden stone gate engraved with a couplet. Phew! The Hidden Sword Taoist let out a deep sigh of relief. It took him a lot of his immortal essence and Tao techniques to activate this formation. "Everyone, please wait patiently." The Hidden Sword Taoist tossed out a futon and sat down on the spot. Everyone then took their seats. As soon as he sat down, Xianxia asked, "May I ask fellow Daoist Zongjian, approximately how long will it take for them to come out?" Zongjian shook his head. "I don't know, maybe a few days, maybe a few years, or maybe hundreds of years, who knows? Nobody knows what's going on inside. Perhaps we should wait for my disciple's message." When Ji Wuxin entered, he carried a special communication talisman. This talisman was of a very high level and could break through the restrictions of the formation when transmitting messages. Bang! Bang bang! The 6 people fell into the formation one after another. Before He Pingxing's eyes was boundless darkness. It's so dark. There was almost no light at all. Fortunately, everyone was at the Earth Immortal stage with strong divine senses, so even if they couldn't see, it didn't matter. They could still see clearly with a sweep of their divine senses. Bang! Just then, a bright light suddenly appeared in front of them. Then came 2, 3. Just like when we entered the tomb passage before, this is also a narrow passage. Countless lamps were hung on the walls on both sides of the passage. After the 6 people entered, these lamps were lit one by one. How terrifying! Wen Buan shuddered and moved closer to He Pingxing. He Pingxing didn't resist this move too much, but Fang Long and Huang Yusha next to him suddenly turned their heads and cast unfriendly glances at He Pingxing. HMPH. Fang Long snorted coldly, "Someone else's plaything or servant, he. Junior sister Wen, he can't protect you. Why don't you come with me?" Huang Yusha also spoke up, "Junior sister Wen, if you come with me, I will absolutely protect your safety, even at the cost of my life." Good heavens! He Pingxing was speechless. These 2 are jealous? No way, these are all old guys who have cultivated for so many years. How could they be seduced by beauty? Could it be that these 2 guys didn't ascend from the lower realm? Chapter 1162 The Root of the Avici Demon, Whispering Sound. Although Ji Wuxin was also amazed by Wen Buan's beauty, he had known Wen Buan for a long time, and he really didn't have any other feelings for her. So seeing the 2 sycophants acting like this, I couldn't help but mock them. Fang Long and Huang Yusha were helpless against Ji Wuxin. We can't afford to mess with them. Therefore, they could only endure Ji Wuxin's mockery. No need. Wen Buan calmed down a bit and said, "I'll just follow senior brother He. We 2 are the true partners." That's right, although there are 6 people, they come from different camps. He Pingxing and Wen Buan are in the same camp. Fang Long and Huang Yusha are in the same camp. Ji Wuxin was on the same side as the woman in purple. To this day, He Pingxing still doesn't know the name of the woman in purple. There's nothing to be afraid of here. He Pingxing looked at Wen Buan calmly. "It's just a bit eerie. Perhaps you're not used to the aura of the demonic path. Just conceal your aura and prevent this demonic energy from invading your body." As He Pingxing spoke, his divine sense swept over Wen Buan. It's not about spying on other people's bodies, because women like Wen Buan wear specially made clothes that can block the spying of divine senses. He Pingxing wanted to see her cultivation level. I saw it. Wen Buan's cultivation level was not low. Like He Pingxing, he was at the 11th level of the Earth Immortal stage. Upon seeing this, He Pingxing couldn't help but smile. He Heping's life has 11 layers, and Wen Buan's is also 11 layers. It's highly likely that this woman has also encountered a bottleneck. Given Wen Buan's background and the fact that her master was a golden immortal, it was impossible for her not to obtain a rare and precious material for a mere Earth Immortal to break through a bottleneck. If Wen Buan didn't break through, it means she didn't want to use rare and precious herbs. Why? The answer is obvious. It seems that Lao Tzu was right to choose not to use these rare and precious materials to break through his bottleneck. Gentlemen, there is no other way, only this one passage. I'm leaving now. After Ji Wuxin finished speaking, he transformed into a beam of light and flew out along the passage. The passage was very narrow, but it seemed to have no end in sight. Moreover, there was no other way to go besides the passage, so as soon as Ji Wuxin flew away, the remaining people turned into streaks of light and followed him. He Pingxing came in 5th place. Wen Buan stayed close to him. He Pingxing was not in a hurry, because whatever he gains here will not belong to him. They all have to be handed over to that old, immortal stone-gathering immortal lord in the future. Taking advantage of this opportunity, He Pingxing secretly opened the treasure basin and took out a drop of purple-gold spiritual liquid, placing it in his palm. Boom! His divine sense blasted out, enveloping the spiritual liquid. This is the result of strengthening the 12 drops of 3 lights elixir that Han Hoji gave us before. Before He Pingxing could even check, he was captured by the stone-collecting Taoist. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. Now that we've finally gotten a sliver of an opportunity, let's see what this thing is good for. The message quickly came to He Pingxing's mind. Name: 3 lights elixir. Grade: Grade 3, top grade. Functions: after being swallowed, it can be stored in the dantian. Once the dantian is depleted, it can be instantly replenished. 1 drop of spiritual liquid can replenish the dantian 10 times. Secondly, it can accelerate the growth of immortal herbs and roots below the 3rd grade. Thirdly, swallowing 1 drop of 3 light spiritual liquid can neutralize any toxins in the immortal realm. Hiss hiss hiss. After reading it, He Pingxing quickly put the spiritual liquid into his spatial ring. Even after being enhanced, this item's effectiveness didn't increase significantly. The enhancements are in 2 aspects. First, the capacity has increased from 1 filling to 10 fillings, and the contents can be temporarily stored in the dantian. This eliminates the need to replenish supplies during a fight. However, it is only effective for immortals with cultivation levels of celestial immortal or below. The second method is artificial ripening, which may greatly increase the effectiveness of ripening. But He Pingxing didn't know the exact amount of the increase. The detoxification effect remains unchanged. Even so, it was already a huge help to He Pingxing. Senior brother He, what was that purple thing just now? Wen Buan asked curiously. It looked quite extraordinary. Swoosh! As they spoke, the two flew side by side through the narrow passage. He Pingxing said, "It's a kind of spiritual liquid that can instantly fill the dantian." Wen Buan looked on with envy. This is really good stuff. The two chatted as they flew, and after about half an incense stick's time, the sky suddenly brightened, and they rushed into a vast world. Who would have thought that there was another world inside this great tomb? The mountains and rivers are magnificent, and the sun and moon shine upon them. At first glance, it is almost indistinguishable from the world on Yuhuang Star outside. However, there was no immortal energy here, but rather a strong demonic aura. He Pingxing saw a particularly tall mountain in the world before him. At the summit of the mountain, a blood-red immortal herb grew. The herb was about 10 feet tall, but when He Pingxing scanned it with his divine sense, he discovered that the herb's root system was extremely developed, extending 100 feet deep into the earth. Moreover, the roots of this magical herb are also a deep crimson color. 4 beams of light tore through the void, desperately flying towards the mountain peak. My dear reader, there's more to, even more exciting content awaits. These are Ji Wuxin and 3 others. Needless to say, they went there specifically to collect this magical herb. This is... Wen Buan exclaimed in shock, It's a 5th grade immortal herb. Senior brother he. Quick, let's go pick it too. He Pingxing naturally expected this as well, but by then it was clearly too late. Just then, Ji Wuxin was the first to land on the mountain peak. He reached out to collect the immortal herbs on the mountain peak, and the next moment, a cloud of black mist appeared out of thin air and condensed into a demonic creature that was 1,000 feet tall. The creature roared at Ji Wuxin and threw a punch with its black fist. Bang! The punch landed squarely on Ji Wuxin's chest. Ji Wuxin spat out a mouthful of golden divine blood, and his body was blasted away like a kite with a broken string. Roar! Amidst the horrified gazes of the crowd, the black demonic shadow shot out with a whoosh, continuing its pursuit of Ji Wuxin. However, when he flew to a place tens of thousands of feet away, a long chain suddenly appeared on his body, pulling him tightly and preventing him from taking another step forward. The black chain had one end locked to the demonic shadow and the other end locked to the mountain peak. Roar! 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 The demonic shadow, unable to advance any further, roared incessantly at Ji Wuxin. Ji Wuxin ended up back beside He Pingxing and Wen Buan. Damn it, there's a demon guarding it. His face was somewhat pale. He Pingxing asked, "May I ask, fellow Daoist Ji, what exactly is this immortal herb?" To be honest, He Pingxing really didn't recognize what this blood-red fairy herb was. Ji Wuxin said, "This is a 5th grade immortal herb, the Avici demon essence root." What the heck? He Pingxing was slightly confused. Avici demonic root? Never heard of it. Chapter 1163 The Demons of Wreck Call Out. Whoosh whoosh. The 3 people who were a step slower than Ji Wuxin also turned into streaks of light and flew back, landing again. One was the purple-clad woman who was on the same side as Ji Wuxin, and the other 2 were Fang Long and Xianxia. They had originally intended to go up and get a share of the spoils, but seeing how powerful the demonic figure was, they could only retreat for the time being. Damn it! Fang Long's face turned ugly. That attack just now must have reached the celestial immortal level, right? As he spoke, Fang Long glanced at Ji Wuxin, as if seeking confirmation. Everyone else was also looking at Ji Wuxin. Ji Wuxin nodded, about, roughly equivalent to the 5th or 6th level of the celestial immortal stage. Hiss hiss hiss. Everyone gasped in shock. Impressive. Fang Long gave Ji Wuxin a thumbs up. As expected of the #1 Earth immortal on our Yuhuang star, he only suffered superficial injuries after withstanding the power of a heavenly immortal's attack. Awesome. Xianxia also gave a thumbs up. We are all among the top talents on Yuhuang star. Who doesn't know who? But the fact that the 2 of them were so flattering to Ji Wuxin was not just flattery. It could only mean that Ji Wuxin was truly powerful. Even He Pingxing had to admit this. After all, during their first battle, although He Pingxing didn't use his full strength, he didn't actually defeat Ji Wuxin either. He only exhausted the boy's immortal energy. He Pingxing. After a slight pause, Xianxia shifted his focus to He Pingxing, looking at him with a sneer and saying, "I've heard you're not bad either. Why don't you go and give it a try?" As he spoke, Xianxia gestured toward the mountain peak. At this moment, the demonic shadow that had been bound by chains had vanished and returned to the mountain peak. He Pingxing ignored Xianxia and instead asked, "Does this Avici demonic root have any special uses?" Ji Wuxin remained silent. Everyone else kept quiet. When Buan said, I don't know either." It's obvious that someone knows, but they just don't want to say it. Finally, the woman in purple spoke, saying, "The Avici demonic essence root is an essential and irreplaceable ingredient for refining the 5th rank golden elixir, the spiritual scripture connecting to heaven elixir. The heavenly pill for spirit writing?" Hearing this name, He Pingxing was even more bewildered. He bowed to the woman and said, "Greetings, fairy. My name is He Pingxing." "Hello." The woman in purple returned He Pingxing's greeting and said, "My Daoist name is Ping Yu." "Fairy Ping Yu." He Pingxing continued, "May I ask what kind of golden pill this flying to heaven pill is, and what its functions are?" He Pingxing did have alchemy manuals on him. He had a manual called 3-turn golden elixir method, but unfortunately, the highest level of elixirs recorded in it was only 3 turns. That's it. Therefore, he had never heard of this so-called spirit writing and connecting to the heavens pill. Fairy Ping Yu didn't hold anything back. You're welcome. The so-called heavenly connection pill is a 5th grade golden pill, she explained in detail. If one swallows this pill, it can allow a Xianxia level immortal to comprehend the great Tao ahead of time. At that time, we can use all kinds of Taoist magic and supernatural powers. He Pingxing suddenly understood. Good heavens! Isn't this just like the golden core channel in the cultivation world? In the cultivation world, only nascent soul stage cultivators can develop Tao roots, but with the use of certain special methods, golden core stage cultivators can also develop Tao roots. For example, He Pingxing could do that by cultivating the Great Void Mystery Scripture. Got it. This elixir is incredibly useful. I once heard my master say that the Taoist arts in this world are divided into yin and yang, and there is heaven and earth. To comprehend the great Tao before reaching the profound immortal stage, one must open both one's heavenly root and earthly root. This spirit-based heaven-connecting pill contains 2 special main ingredients. One is called 9 Yang Heavenly Bright Seed, an extremely yang substance among 5th grade immortal herbs, used to connect the heavenly root. The other is the Avici demonic origin root, before us, used to connect the earthly root. When the roots of heaven and earth are connected, one can comprehend the myriad laws of the great Tao. That's interesting. He Pingxing nodded and said, "Thank you for clearing up my doubts, fellow Daoist Ping Yu. If he, obtain this Avici demonic essence root later, I will give you 10% of it." These words immediately drew contempt from Fang Long and Xianxia. What others cannot obtain even with a simple plan, you think you can? Who? He Pingxing took a deep breath, then suddenly moved his feet and instantly transformed into a beam of light, flying towards the Avici demon Yuan root on the mountain peak. The rest of the people all stared wide-eyed at the scene. Just as He Pingxing approached the Avici demonic root, another demonic aura transformed into a demonic shadow within the mountain peak, blocking his path. It was exactly the same as when Ji Wuxin took the treasure. Only when you get closer do you realize how terrifying this demonic shadow is. He was 1,000 feet tall, with demonic energy surging around him. His head had no face, only 3 large holes. 2 are for eyes, and 1 is for the mouth. Within each of those eye sockets, a cluster of scarlet flames leaped, and blood-red light burst forth from the eye sockets, a terrifying sight. The demonic figure unleashed a punch, aimed directly at He Pingxing. Roar! He Pingxing also roared, his internal energy surging, instantly transforming into a 1,000-foot-tall body. The 2 enormous fists collided. He Pingxing was blasted away. At that moment, Ji Wuxin transformed into a beam of light and sped towards the mountain peak. My dear reader, there's more to, even more exciting content awaits. Not only Ji Wuxin, but also Fang Long, Xianxia, and Ping Yu followed closely behind and flew over. These people were all planning to take advantage of He Pingxing blocking the demonic shadow to launch a decisive attack. Of course, when Buan went too. Wouldn't it be foolish not to go now? Result. Bang. A loud bang. Ji Wuxin, who was flying at the forefront, was blasted away by a demonic shadow that suddenly appeared. A second demonic shadow appeared. Seeing this, the people behind quickly turned around and moved away from the mountain peak. Joke. I thought there was only 1 demonic figure, but who knew there was more? Puff. Ji Wuxin spat out another mouthful of blood. Then, he spun rapidly in the void like a whirlwind, then hurtled diagonally towards the earth, finally crashing heavily at the foot of a distant mountain. It stirred up a huge cloud of dust. Centered on the huge crater he created, countless cracks spread out in all directions, resembling a winding spider web. The rest of the people, including He Pingxing, also retreated. Damn it! Ji Wuxin cursed as he took out a golden pill and swallowed it in one gulp. Before anyone could ask a question, He Pingxing transformed into a streak of light and rushed towards the mountain peak once again. The difference this time was that he simultaneously activated a shield made of lightning, the Heavenly Thunder Shield Talisman. This is a third-grade defensive talisman drawn by He Pingxing, and it's a top-grade one at that. Once expanded, a thick shield surrounds the body. This shield can withstand several attacks from a peak celestial immortal without breaking, so the dark figure definitely couldn't break it immediately. Also, there's the evil of Lei Ku. Lightning is specifically designed to counter demons, thus increasing defensive power by 3 points. Hope this helps. Chapter 1164 Obtaining the Demonic Essence Root. Kidnapping. Has this guy gone mad? You actually dare to go? What is that? A third-grade shield. Huang Yusha was stunned as he watched He Pingxing fly over again without stopping, and asked 4 questions in a row. It's not just a simple rank 3 shield. Ji Wuxin frowned and said, this is a top-grade defensive immortal talisman among rank 3 talismans, and it's a lightning shield. Wreck the demons. Maybe this kid will actually succeed. All 5 people turned their gazes toward He Pingxing. At this point, they dared not risk going there easily. After all, he had already been beaten twice. Take Ji Wuxin for example. He is not without methods and trump cards, but he saves his trump cards for later. In his eyes, a mere Avici demonic root was not valuable enough. First of all, this thing is a 5th-grade item. Moreover, it can only be used when one reaches the Xianxia level. Are we too far ahead of the time to be thinking about things beyond the Earth Immortal realm when we're only at the Earth Immortal level? Besides, once you truly reach the Xianxia realm, won't you be able to buy this thing? There's no need to waste resources here. Ji Wuxin quietly watched He Pingxing approach the mountain peak. Boom! Just then, a 1,000-foot-tall demonic figure once again materialized on the distant mountain peak. The demonic figure stretched out its fist and slammed it towards He Pingxing. A massive surge of demonic energy, carrying a black fist, slammed heavily onto the lightning shield surrounding He Pingxing's body. However, the lightning shield only shook slightly and showed no signs of damage. Roar! The demonic shadow roared and unleashed a second attack with all its might. The result is still the same. The lightning shield surrounding He Pingxing's body remained intact. Moreover, after 2 consecutive bombardments, He Pingxing had already reached the summit of the mountain. Just then, 7 more demonic figures suddenly materialized. 8 demonic figures with combat power at the celestial immortal level simultaneously bombarded He Pingxing. He Pingxing gritted his teeth and ignored it, quickly using his immortal energy to cut off a small root of the Avici demon root, and then put it away. Just then, the lightning shield around his body suddenly exploded under the continuous attack of the 8 demonic shadows. The instant it exploded, another sea of lightning spread out in all directions. Taking advantage of the moment when the Sea of Thunder was boiling and the demonic shadows were retreating, He Pingxing quickly transformed into a streak of light and escaped. The Avici demon's root was thus obtained. Well, the price was the loss of a rank 3, Heavenly Thunder Shield talisman. Congratulations, senior brother He. Congratulations, fellow Daoist He. Wen Buan and Ping Yu looked at He Pingxing with happy smiles on their faces. Wen Buan was happy because she and He Pingxing were on the same side. He Pingxing got good things, and although she didn't get any, she could still benefit from it after they left the secret realm. Ping Yu was happy because He Pingxing had previously said that he would give her 10% of what he had obtained. Ji Wuxin, standing beside him, remained expressionless. Because this thing isn't attractive enough to him. You actually got it. He actually managed to pick it. Huang Yusha and Fang Long felt a little sad when they saw that He Pingxing had collected the Avici demon essence root. The 2 of them looked at He Pingxing, feeling a pang of sadness in their hearts. After a long while, Huang Yusha said, fellow Daoist, he is fortunate to have that Thunder Dao immortal talisman. If I had such an talisman, I could also obtain the demonic essence root. That's right. Fang Long echoed. In the end, they relied on external forces. In their view, He Pingxing's ability to obtain the demonic root had nothing to do with his strength. It was purely due to good luck, and that I happened to have a talisman with lightning attributes. Fellow Daoist He. Huang Yusha cupped his hands in envy towards He Pingxing and said, fellow Daoist He, do you have any more defensive immortal talismans like this? If so, Could you trade me one? He Pingxing shook his head. No, that's not right. I don't want to trade something that could save my life. Besides, this is also our master's wish. HMPH. Upon hearing that He Pingxing was unwilling to make the deal, Huang Youxia's face turned black with anger. Fellow Daoist Ping Yu. He Pingxing turned to look at Ping Yu and said, "Thank you for helping me with my doubts before. As a reward, I'll give you 10% of the demonic essence root I obtained this time." All right. Ping Yu didn't stand on ceremony. She nodded and said, "Thank you so much, senior brother He. You have so many demonic essence roots, enough to refine 10 batches of the heaven-connecting pill. I won't be polite then, He." Ping Yu's way of addressing He Pingxing changed from fellow Daoist He to senior brother He. The root in He Pingxing's hand was blood red and about 2 feet long. 4 or 5 more branches grew from this root. He gently sliced off a blood-red branch with his flying sword and presented it to Ping Yu, saying, "Fellow Daoist Ping Yu, please." "Thank you, senior brother." Ping Yu happily accepted the gift. He Pingxing held up the blood-red root and placed it in front of Wen Buan. "Junior sister Wen, do you need it?" "No, no, no." Wen Buan waved his hand awkwardly with a laugh. "I don't want it. Even a golden immortal wouldn't need this. If you give it to immortal Lord Xianxia later, he will most likely bestow it upon you. You should complete the mission first, and then give it to me after you've finished the mission." He Pingxing said, "All right." He put the root into a jade box, and then stored the jade box in his spatial ring. Where to next? Ping Yu asked Ji Wuxin. "Senior brother Ji, are you still going to collect the Avicii demon essence root?" "Don't want." Ji Wuxin shook his head, refusing outright, saying, "I have no use for this item." "Let's go." Wen Buan said, "We should still be on the edge of this secret realm. Let's go further in. According to my master, there is a high possibility that the demon race's inherited supernatural powers are here." "Yes." Ji Wuxin nodded. The group of people were about to leave. However, Huang Youxia blocked everyone's way. "Wait a minute." Huang Youxia pointed to the distant mountain peaks and said, "If you don't take what heaven has given you, you will suffer the consequences." He Pingxing alone just took a small amount of that demonic essence root, which is not even a drop in the ocean compared to the rest. "Are you really willing to leave like this?" Ji Wuxin remained silent. Huang Youxia looked at He Pingxing and said, "Fellow Daoist He, we are indeed in competition with you, but now that you have obtained this thing, and you don't plan to keep the remaining demonic essence roots on the mountain, I'll go and collect some. Will that bother you all?" He Pingxing said, "Do as you please. The things aren't mine, so I have no right to stop you." He. Huang Youxia said, "Since that's the case, fellow Daoist He, you should take out one of those lightning shields. We're not taking your things for nothing. As fellow immortals from the same planet as you Huang, you wouldn't refuse to help us with such a small favor, would you? For you, this is probably just a small favor, isn't it?" Chapter 1165. If you're unlucky, who can you blame? He Pingxing, although we are competitors, we are in the same boat now that we have come to this dangerous secret realm. At this moment, Ji Wuxin suddenly spoke up. "If they offer appropriate compensation, I think you should make the deal." He Pingxing sneered, "Sorry, fellow Daoist Ji, my talismans are defensive in nature, I need to save them for when there is danger." "Don't worry." Ji Wuxin said, "If you encounter any danger, I will help you." "We will too." Fang Long quickly added, "If you're willing to make a deal with us, we'll do everything we can to help you if you encounter any danger." Huang Youxia nodded, "That's right." He Pingxing thought for a moment, then nodded and said, "All right, as long as you can provide items of corresponding value, I can trade." For He Pingxing, the reason he didn't make the deal was simply to annoy the two of them. But now that the other party is eager to make the deal, He Pingxing is not at a loss. The so-called self-defense is nothing but a pretext. What if the other person actually has something you need? With a wave of his hand, he produced another, Heavenly Thunder Shield talisman. "Gentlemen, Look carefully. He Pingxing pushed the Heavenly Thunder Shield talisman in front of Fang Long and Xianxia, saying, "This talisman of mine is grade 3, and its quality is top grade. If you can offer something of equal value, you may take it." After speaking, He Pingxing looked at them indifferently. Fang Long shook his head and said, "I'm sorry, I don't have any items of equivalent value on me at the moment." "I don't have one either." Xianxia grabbed the talisman and started acting like a scoundrel. "Ha ha ha." He laughed heartily and said, "Fellow Daoist he, how about this? My master has some third-grade talismans. Although they're not top grade, they're still third grade. I'll have my master give you 10 ordinary third-grade immortal talismans later. How about that?" At this moment, Xianxia had already taken the talisman into his hand, and he felt that it was useless whether He Pingxing agreed or not. "Anyway, I've already got the talisman." To his surprise, He Pingxing actually nodded and said, "Okay. I ask that you all be my witnesses." Xianxia said that after we leave the secret realm, he will give me 10 rank 3 immortal talismans. "Okay." Ji Wuxin nodded, "I'll be your witness." "Me too." Ping Yu, the woman in purple, was happy to testify. Needless to say, Wen Buan is even more so. Now it was Xianxia's turn to panic. He had just made a casual provocation, hoping to provoke He Pingxing into anger and then attack him. In this way, Xianxia and Fang Long could kill He Pingxing instantly. But to my surprise, the other party didn't get angry. Instead, they agreed. They even brought in these people as witnesses. Damn it, it's hard to say whether my master will even have 10 rank 3 immortal talismans after we go out. Even if he does, wouldn't it be a loss to exchange 10 for 1? Never mind. Let's take that Avicii demon's root of essence first. All right. Xianxia replied with a dark face. "Please wait a moment, everyone. I'll go retrieve the Avicii demon's yuan root." After saying that, Xianxia began to activate the magic talisman. Don't be fooled by how easily He Pingxing activated it just now. When it was this guy's turn, it took him 2 full breaths to successfully activate it. A thick shield of lightning condensed around Xianxia's body, almost identical to He Pingxing's shield from before. "Fellow Daoist Fang Long, would you like to come along?" Xianxia asked Fang Long. Fang Long shook his head, "I won't go. If fellow Daoist Huang gets the Avicii demon essence root later, don't forget to share some with me." He. Xianxia chuckled, secretly communicated with Fang Long, and then flew up, heading directly towards the towering mountain peak. Boom! As soon as they entered the mountain range, a demonic aura burst forth from within the mountain. In an instant, it transformed into 8 demonic phantoms. That's right. Unlike when He Pingxing went before, there was only one on the first visit, but 8 demonic shadows appeared on the very first visit. Roar! Ruar, ruar, ruar. He. 8 celestial level attacks simultaneously struck Xianxia from different angles. Damn it! I'll fuck your grandma. How come there are so many? Xianxia cursed, hoping that the shield around his body could hold out. Unfortunately, this is wishful thinking. Previously, He Pingxing had not been able to withstand the simultaneous attack of 8 people. Therefore, after these 8 attacks landed, the lightning shield around Xianxia's body was blasted apart. A silver sea of lightning spread out in all directions. Taking advantage of the power of lightning suppressing the demonic energy, Xianxia transformed into a streak of light and quickly fled. In other words, he wasted a third-grade immortal talisman on this trip and gained nothing. Xianxia's face was almost completely black. He Pingxing. He inexplicably vented all his resentment on He Pingxing, saying, "What kind of talisman did you give me? Why did it break? Could it be a fake talisman for me?" Upon hearing this, even Ping Yu showed a hint of disdain. He Pingxing said, "What does your bad luck have to do with me? Whether the talisman is real or not, you know it very well in your heart, and everyone here has witnessed it with their own eyes. If you try to cheat, then there's nothing I can do." That's right. Fairy Ping Yu finally couldn't help but speak up, saying, "Xianxia, you're really shameless. What's wrong with the talisman He Pingsheng gave you? You're just unlucky. All right, all right. Fang Long reached out and patted Xianxia, saying, Fellow Daoisteng, I must say, your luck is indeed a bit bad. HMPH. Xianxia snorted coldly. How could he not know? Everyone. Ji Wuxin's gaze turned toward the front. You should all be able to sense that the demonic qi is the thickest in that direction. Next, this young master is heading that way. Those who are willing can follow. If you don't want to, then find your own way. Having said that, Ji Wuxin turned into a streak of light and flew toward the left front. Whoosh! Ping Yu followed closely behind. Wen Buan and He Pingsheng also flew after them. Just as Ji Wuxin had said, the demonic qi was the densest in this direction. Needless to say, following this path forward should lead them to the core area. Behind He Pingsheng were Fang Long and Xianxia. Fellow Daoist Fang Long. Xianxia took a deep breath and transmitted his voice to Fang Long. The two of us should attack together. If we catch him off guard, one strike should be enough to kill him, right? Fang Long replied via voice transmission, It should be possible, but I'm afraid, after we kill him, his master. What are you afraid of? Xianxia said, Although Cai Shi is a golden immortal expert, he's still an outsider. What can he do to us? Our masters are local golden immortals of Yu Huang Star. If a conflict arises, we'll definitely be fine. Chapter 1166 Instantly killing opponents of the same level, cutting melons and vegetables call out. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Towering mountains rise abruptly from the ground, stretching endlessly. High mountains and deep valleys are shrouded in white clouds and mist. Several beams of light swept across the mountains and clouds in succession, displaying a variety of colors, which was extremely shocking and spectacular. The last two beams of light slowly approached He Pingsheng, getting closer and closer. When they reached within 100 feet, Fang Long and Xianxia each unleashed their divine sense attacks. Two beams of pure white divine light shot out from the two people's sea of consciousness and instantly sank into He Pingsheng's sea of consciousness. Then, at the same time as the divine senses bombarded each other, the two took out their immortal artifacts, opened them up, and smashed them at He Pingsheng. What are you doing? Wen Buan, who was not far from He Pingsheng, was shocked and shouted. It was no longer possible for her to help He Pingsheng defend himself. Because the opponent launched a sneak attack, and it was extremely fast. Upon hearing this, Ji Wuxin and Fairy Ping Yu, who were flying ahead, quickly turned around. They were too far away to offer any help, let alone have time to reprimand anyone. Just then, two powerful attacks descended from the sky, about to strike He Pingsheng. He Pingsheng's body suddenly changed, turning golden. The two attacks landed heavily on his golden body almost simultaneously. He Pingsheng's body was suddenly attacked by two tremendous forces and was instantly blasted below the white clouds. At the same time, two invisible energies suddenly spread out, forcefully pushing the white clouds and mist in the void within the mountains outward, forming an absolute void with a radius of 10,000 feet. After the white cloud was pushed aside, He Pingsheng, who had landed below it, was revealed. He is not dead. There were no injuries. It wasn't even blasted onto the ground. Instead, it just stayed suspended in the void. He Pingsheng raised his head, his gaze falling on Xianxia and Fang Long, and said calmly, First, you used your divine sense to make me lose my focus for a short time, and then you launched a sneak attack. All right, you too. Are they here to kill me? At this moment, all six of them stopped in the void. A mountain breeze blew, and the clouds that had just been dispersed by the powerful energy fluctuations slowly drifted over here again. He Pingsheng's figure appeared incredibly ethereal. But his voice was very clear. At this moment, Fang Long and Xianxia felt a chill to the bone. They just attacked with almost all their might, and it was 2 against 1, plus it was a sneak attack. Under these circumstances, two powerful attacks slammed into this guy. He had no chance to use any defensive treasures and could only rely on his body to fight back. He didn't die. Can you believe it? They weren't even injured. Hiss. Fang Long and Huang Yusha were beyond words to describe He Pingxing. Wen Buan and Ping Yu both breathed a sigh of relief. As for Ji Wuxin, he frowned. To be fair, if it were Ji Wuxin, he wouldn't have been able to handle He Pingxing's reaction so calmly. In contrast, Ji Wuxin couldn't help but shake his head. That fellow daoist he. Us. We were just joking with you. Fang Long stammered when he spoke. Even he himself felt that the reason was somewhat lame. Huang Yusha gritted his teeth and said, He Pingxing, so what if we attacked and ambushed you just now? Do you dare to kill us? Don't forget, my master is still outside. Those two golden immortals aren't afraid of your master at all. You must understand that in critical moments, a master may abandon his servants, but a master will never abandon his disciple. Even at this point, Huang Yusha remained stubborn. He Pingxing smiled and said, Okay, you're joking with me, right? Now, I'll play a joke on you guys too. After saying that, He Pingxing simply raised his hand, extended 2 fingers, and then flicked his hand slightly towards Fang Long, as if it were a sword. He unleashed a sword intent that reached the heavens and the earth, which instantly swept across the void and slashed towards Fang Long. Its speed is unparalleled. Fang Long wanted to leave, but somehow, his body was bound by a golden rope. Second-grade immortal artifact. Immortal binding rope. Puff. The powerful sword energy sliced Fang Long's body in 2. The golden divine blood turned into raindrops and fell to the earth. At that moment, everyone fell silent. With a wave of his hand, He Pingxing brought the golden immortal binding rope back into his grasp. This thing has hardly been used since it was enhanced. Of course, it's estimated that it won't be used much in the future. Huang Yusha. He Pingxing glanced at Huang Yusha indifferently and asked, Now tell me, do you think I dare to kill you? Huang Yusha was so frightened that his face turned deathly pale and his body trembled like a leaf. What he just witnessed really scared him. Without a word, he raised his hand and killed. Fang Long had absolutely no chance of survival, and no ability to even resist. Killing those of the same rank is as easy as chopping melons and cutting vegetables. What kind of monster is this? Even someone as unintentional as Ji Wuxin is nothing more than this, isn't he? Why aren't you saying anything? He Pingxing's voice rang out again, not loud, but extremely clear. You wouldn't be plotting how to escape, would you? Hehehe. I advise you not to do this. Otherwise, you'll die an even more horrible death. It was my fault. Huang Yusha said, his voice trembling. He Pingxing, it was my fault. I shouldn't have attacked you. These were all Fang Long's ideas, they have nothing to do with me, I was misled by him. Very good. He Pingxing nodded, I'm not sparing your life, not because I'm afraid of your master. It's because you still owe me 10 rank 3 immortal talismans. Don't forget. Huang Yusha said, yes, yes, yes. He was so timid and he didn't even dare to look up. He Pingxing ignored him and transformed into a streak of light, continuing to fly forward. Ji Wuxin, Ping Yu, Wen Buan, and Huang Yusha followed one by one. Wen Buan even picked up Fang Long's ring. Senior brother you're amazing. Wen Buan caught up with He Pingxing and flew alongside him. She looked at him with her beautiful eyes and handed the ring to He Pingxing. This is Fang Long's ring. He Pingxing shook his head and said, it's yours, junior sister Wen. He Pingxing didn't forget to collect the spoils of war. Rather, the moment he killed Fang Long, his divine sense swept over Fang Long's spatial ring. There was nothing in the ring that would interest He Pingxing, given that Fang Long had already handed over all his valuable items outside the secret realm. That's why He Pingxing didn't touch Fang Long's ring. Not far behind, Ping Yu asked Ji Wuxin, senior brother Ji, what do you think of He Pingxing's attack just now? Ji Wuxin's cheek twitched, and he said, the power of that strike was unleashed using sword intent. It's not immortal essence. In terms of sword intent alone, I'm inferior to him. But his chances of beating me aren't absolute. Chapter 1167 Heavenly Demon Golden Scripture Beyond the Secret Realm. 6 people were sitting in the not-so-large underground space. The hidden sword Immortal Lord, the purple-clad woman, the coral Immortal Lord, the stone-gathering Immortal Lord, the dragon sky Immortal Lord, and the heavenly deer Immortal Lord. Time passed second by second. Some of the 6 immortals were sitting cross-legged in meditation, some were deep in thought, and some were chatting. The stone-picking immortal's gaze swept over everyone. The one with the highest cultivation level here is the hidden sword Immortal Lord. Kang Jian possesses the cultivation level of the 8th level of the Golden Immortal stage. The second one is the stone-gathering Immortal Lord, who is at the 4th level of the Golden Immortal stage. Of course, the woman in purple and the coral fairy were also at the 4th level of the Golden Immortal stage. As for Immortal Lord Longxiao and Immortal Lord Qianlu, both of them are at the 3rd level of Golden Immortal. Buzzing. With a wave of his hand, Immortal Lord Xianxia unleashed a surge of Daoist magic and immortal essence, instantly forming a barrier about 10 feet in size that enveloped him and Immortal Lord Coral. Others were used to it, because it was obvious that they had private matters to discuss. Brother Xianxia, asked Coral Immortal Lord, why is that? Hehehe. Xianxia chuckled, then looked at Coral Immortal and said, Junior Sister Coral, we've known each other for many years now, haven't we? Coral Immortal Lord nodded and said, if I remember correctly, it has been tens of thousands of years. The stone-gathering immortal then asked, how do you feel about me? Coral said, to be fair, among the countless golden immortals, senior brother Xianxia is considered quite magnanimous. The fact that I invited you instead of someone else shows that you have won my heart. Good, good, good. Xianxia said, it's best that you say so. I want to make a deal with you. Please speak, senior brother. Coral was still very polite. Xianxia smiled and said, I've taken a liking to your disciple, Wen Buan, and I'd like to bring her into my possession. If my junior sister is willing, I can pay a certain price. I guarantee you'll be satisfied, junior sister. The coral fairy's face immediately darkened. This is a disciple, after all. Wen Buan is stunningly beautiful, and almost every man who sees her is amazed by her beauty. Over the years, many men have come to her seeking to become her Daoist partners. But they were all talented young people who cultivated at the same level as Wen Buan. Now, this guy who quarries, this. No. Fairy Coral shook her head. Senior brother Xianxia, you've already reached the Golden Immortal level, can't you see through the mere word lust? Ha ha ha. The stone-cutting Taoist laughed heartily. You saw through it a long time ago. It is precisely because I have seen through all this that I believe everything should be done according to one's heart. If I had seen Wen Buan 100,000 years ago, I naturally wouldn't have been swayed by lust. But now, things are different. My mindset has changed long ago. The coral fairy shook her head again. Wen Buan is my disciple, who has inherited my mantle. I will never let her become your concubine. Senior brother, stop daydreaming. It's not that I'm delusional, it's just that you can't get over that hurdle in your heart. Xianxia said, Wen Buan will find a Daoist partner sooner or later, won't he? I have endless lifespan, why can't I? We immortals don't care about age. Hehehe. Speaking of lineage, junior sister, you must have at least 80 or 100 disciples, right? It's not like Wen Buan is the only one. So even without her, your lineage won't be broken. Besides, once we reach the Golden Immortal level, theoretically our lifespan is endless, so things like inheritance are no longer important. Come. Junior sister, take a look at this. As he spoke, Immortal Lord Xianxia took out a cyan jade slip and handed it to Fairy Coral. The coral fairy took the jade slip and asked, what is this? Xianxia smiled mysteriously, see for yourself. The coral fairy wasn't worried about Xianxia setting a trap for her, so she sent a tiny wisp of her divine sense into the jade slip. What she saw there was incredible. She quickly became engrossed in it. After a dozen or so breaths, the coral fairy finally raised her head and exclaimed in shock, This This is actually a heaven-rank refining spirit technique. Xianxia Dao, not bad. What a pity. Coral shook her head again. There are only 3 chapters, from the human immortal chapter to the celestial immortal chapter. No. Xianxia said, this technique is called the Heavenly Prison Soul Forging Technique, a top-tier soul refining technique of the heavenly rank. If you agree to my conditions, I will give you a complete set from the human immortal chapter to the golden immortal chapter. 5 articles in total, how about that? Coral frowned, you really do have all 5 complete chapters on you. Xianxia said, how could I possibly deceive you? As long as my junior sister swears an oath to the heavenly Tao to give when Buan to me, I will immediately give you this refining spirit method. Just as the stone collector finished speaking, the outer barrier was suddenly shattered by a violent energy surge. He turned around abruptly, only to see that the Dragon Sky Immortal Lord outside was cursing loudly. Damn it! Damn it! Who is it? Who exactly is it? Xianxia and Shan, who were stunned for a moment, but when they saw the broken life tablet in Long Xiao Xianjun's hand, they immediately understood. Good heavens, so this guy's disciple died. Call out. As he Pingxing flew, he skimmed past a massive mountain range and suddenly burst out of a dark cloud. Then, he stopped in midair. Bang! Bang bang bang! Ji Wuxin, Wen Buan, Ping Yu, and Huang Yusha also stopped in the void not far from Pingxing. My dear reader, there's more to, even more exciting content awaits. Looking ahead from their position, they witnessed a horrifying scene. The mountains rise and fall, and thousands of peaks stand tall. Looking through the thin mist, these mountains resembled black behemoths, majestic and cold. Thousands of miles away, there is another massive black mountain that rises far above these peaks, standing like a pillar reaching to the sky and piercing through 3 layers of white clouds. On the mountain peak, countless golden runes flickered incessantly, as if breathing. With each breath, endless demonic energy transformed into power and converged towards the mountain peak, only to be expelled again. That's not a mountain. When Buan's voice trembled slightly, senior brother to me, it looks like a giant. Ji Wuxin said, it should be the body of a demon king who has been dead for countless years. The golden runes shimmering on its body are the legacy it inherited in its previous life. This must be the heavenly demon golden scripture that Master and the others were guessing about. What? Huang Yusha exclaimed in shock, this is the heavenly demon golden scripture. Yes. Ji Wuxin said, it's a pity it's a demonic cultivation technique, we might not be able to cultivate it. But, no matter what, let's go check it out first. The 5 people nodded to each other, then transformed into streaks of light and flew toward the black figure. At the same time, Pingxing's vast divine sense also extended out to take a look. As Ji Wuxin had said, this was a demon king who had been dead for countless years. There was no sign of life on him. Chapter 1168 4th Grade Immortal Array. Pingxing expanded his divine sense and saw more than just these things. He also discovered that the enormous demon king's body, which was almost taller than a mountain, was not a physical entity, but merely a phantom. It can be considered a form created by some special rules. The true corpse of the demon king does exist. It stands atop a mountain peak, only 10,000 feet tall. Call out. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In the void, several people struggled to cross. In less than half an incense stick's time, they arrived beside the true demonic body. Looking at the demon king's corpse up close was even more shocking. The massive demonic body was entirely black. Its head was cut off by something, and its whereabouts are unknown. At the neck, there seemed to be drops of golden divine blood, which dripped down and then flowed down the body, drawing golden marks. Endless black demonic energy erupted from his body. Pingxing's eyes narrowed slightly. Good stuff. I wonder if it would be feasible to use the Demon King's blood to refine my body. As for the Demon King's cultivation level during his lifetime, Pingxing couldn't guess, but it certainly wouldn't have been too low. At the very least, it should have been the Golden Immortal stage. Gentlemen. Ji Wuxin looked at the enormous demonic body before him and said, this Demon King's corpse is an invaluable treasure. How should we divide it? A draw, or a fight to the death? He looked at everyone. Wen Buan, Ping Yu, and Huang Yusha remained silent. They looked at He Pingsheng. He Pingsheng said calmly, "Everyone, I'll take this demon blood, you can divide the rest among yourselves." Having said that, He Pingsheng, without hesitation, flew directly towards the enormous demonic body, intending to take its blood. Of course, he wasn't that reckless. As he flew toward the demonic body, he had already formed 6 defensive lightning talismans in his hand. If anything changes, immediately activate the talisman for defense. But to everyone's surprise, when He Pingsheng flew to within 100 feet of the demonic body, a powerful force suddenly erupted from the demonic body, blasting him away with a bang. At the same time, a silver lightning film formed on the outside of He Pingsheng's body. He activated 2 Thunder Shield talismans. But as it turned out, He Pingsheng wasted 2 talismans. Even if he doesn't activate the immortal talisman, this impact won't pose any danger to him. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. He Pingsheng had just been blasted away by the power emanating from the demonic body when the others rushed towards it. However, without exception, they were all blasted away at a distance of about 100 feet from the true form of the heavenly demon. It's impossible to get close to it. Buzzing. A faint aura suddenly emanated from the enormous demonic body. Although the demonic body did not move, He Pingsheng had a feeling that the Demon King was about to be resurrected. Ah! Wen Buan screamed in fright and hid behind He Pingsheng. He Pingsheng turned around and asked, "Junior Sister Wen, did you ascend from the lower realm?" "No." Wen Buan shook her head, "I was born in the immortal realm." No wonder. He Pingsheng felt a surge of disdain. If someone had ascended from the immortal realm, they probably wouldn't have this kind of mentality. The demonic body did not move. The Demon King did not revive. However, the countless drops of golden divine blood that had fallen to the ground all flew up at this moment, landing little by little on the demon's body, transforming into countless ancient runes. The golden runes flickered, breathing in and out. With each breath, an endless stream of demonic energy surged forth, drawing in and then bursting out again. Moo 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 moo. A deep, rapid, and rhythmic sound emanated from the demonic body and spread outwards. Countless golden ancient characters surged in all directions in rhythm with the undulating sound. In the void, ancient phantoms of gods and demons dance. There is a chant from countless millennia ago. Countless images and characters transformed into millions of objects, flickering in the void. It seemed like the sky was getting dark. It wasn't darkness, it was countless demonic energies that enveloped this world. Huang Yusha burst into laughter and shouted, "I see it! I see it! This is a cultivation technique. This is demonic energy. The heavenly demon golden scripture is mine." Bang! The next moment, Huang Yusha suddenly sat down on the ground. From He Pingsheng's perspective, this guy seems to be practicing some kind of demonic cultivation technique. Before long, countless demonic energies gathered around him. Jar! Ji Wuxin's expression suddenly turned serious, and he shouted at Huang Yusha. A golden light suddenly shot out from his mouth and struck Huang Yusha. Huang Yusha then emerged from his somewhat manic state. "What's wrong?" He looked at Ji Wuxin with some surprise. Fairy Ping Yu said, "You seem to have been bewitched by something just now." As soon as she finished speaking, He Pingsheng saw Wen Buan, who was closest to him, lose her balance and sit on the ground. 4 or 5 golden runes landed on her from different angles, and then countless demonic energies drilled into her body. Seeing this, He Pingsheng naturally stepped forward, reached out and grabbed Wen Buan's hand, transferring a portion of his immortal energy to her. Then Wen Buan recovered from that dazed state. "Not good!" Ji Wuxin exclaimed, "Damn it, this seems to be the legacy of the demon race. This inheritance is terrifying. It can actually disturb the mind." He Pingsheng nodded. He also found the demon race's lineage terrifying. "You don't want to learn, but we force-feed you the techniques. Let's go." He Pingsheng didn't want to stay here for another second. Although the Xianmen and Momen were the same sex and equals in ancient times, with the Xuanmen's growing strength and the evolution of countless Xianmen techniques, The Xianmen has now become its own system, and the cultivation gap between the Xianmen and Momen is widening. Simply put, practicing demonic techniques will affect one's own path. Leaving was the right thing to do. He Pingxing didn't even want the true blood of the demon race anymore. However, when he pulled Wenbuan into a streak of light and flew away, he suddenly discovered that a layer of almost transparent light membrane had appeared 10,000 feet away. The two almost collided with the light membrane. Open! He Pingxing roared and hurled the primordial purple gold in his hand at the array's light membrane. The immense power fell upon the light membrane, yet it couldn't even stir up a ripple. He Pingxing's brows suddenly furrowed. Although he is only at the Earth Immortal stage, he can easily unleash the attack power of a celestial immortal in a single strike. Yet, this did not even slightly shake the formation. What level is this formation? 3rd rank? A 3rd rank official is impossible. If He Pingxing were to launch a continuous attack now, he could break through a 3rd grade defensive immortal array in a dozen or so breaths at most. So this formation must be at least a 4th grade formation? Hiss hiss hiss. A 4th grade immortal formation. Damn it! I'm trapped. Chapter 1169 Composite Immortal Array. A nearly transparent membrane of light, spanning 100,000 feet in size, enveloped the entire mountaintop, encompassing the demonic body and the 5 people within it. He Pingxing tried, but it didn't budge. He led Wenbuan back to where everyone was standing. Open! Ji Wuxin shouted, then waved his hand and took out a large golden umbrella. The umbrella opened in an instant, forming a barrier about 10 feet in diameter, encompassing everyone. What happened? After everything was done, Ji Wuxin looked at He Pingxing. He Pingxing shook his head and said, I don't know, the formation must have been activated after we arrived. Based on initial assessment, it appears to be a trap. What? Xianxia asked, a trapping formation. Then let's attack together and see if we can break this formation. No one responded to his proposal. Ji Wuxin looked outside with a worried expression and said, when we came in, my master took away all our offensive talismans and immortal artifacts. Now it seems like a huge mistake. Without these things, I'm afraid we won't be able to break through this 3rd grade trapping formation, will we? A cold smile appeared on He Pingxing's lips. 3rd rank. You're overthinking it. Why don't you try it yourself, fellow Daoist Ji? Ji Wuxin raised an eyebrow. Not 3rd rank? Then what rank could it be? He Pingxing remained silent. Ji Wuxin walked out of the golden barrier and flew towards a corner of the massive light membrane. A dozen or so breaths later, he returned, his face covered in ashes. Brother Ji, how is it? Fairy Pingyu asked Ji Wuxin. Ji Wuxin said with a dark face, damn it, this is a 4th grade trapping formation. We'll never get out of here in this lifetime. The crowd, having heard the suggestion, frowned and lost interest in hearing it. Yes. If it's a 3rd grade immortal formation, we can still think of a way. After all, they are all geniuses at the Earth Immortal stage. With everyone working together, it should still be possible to break through a 3rd grade trapping formation. But now you're telling me this is a 4th rank? How can we do this? Does anyone know about formations? Ji Wuxin's gaze swept over the crowd. Wenbuan raised her hand and said, I do know some formations, but I am only an Earth Immortal. Even if I am proficient in formations, I cannot break this 4th grade trapping formation. Xianxia said, then what should we do? We can't just stay here forever, can we? And, look, the demonic energy here seems to be attacking us. After Xianxia's reminder, everyone turned their attention back to the outside of the trapped formation. Countless black demonic energies were surging wildly toward the light membrane formed by the giant umbrella. The brightness on the light film is decreasing. It's all right. Ji Wuxin said, I can hold on for now, but I'm afraid it will take a long time. Fellow Daoist He, you are knowledgeable and experienced, and you are a cultivator who ascended from the lower realm. Tell me, what should we do now? Everyone looked at He Pingxing. He Pingxing's gaze, however, was directed towards the outside of the barrier. After a few breaths, he slowly said, There's no way. The only hope is to accept this demonic cultivation technique. If I learn the inheritance of the demonic path, I might be able to use it as an opportunity to break free from the constraints of the formation. If I still can't open this trapping formation after receiving the inheritance of the demonic path, then there's really no way. Our only hope is that rescuers from outside will come. After speaking, He Pingxing looked at Ji Wuxin. Ji Wuxin said, "It's probably not realistic to send reinforcements from outside. Wait a minute. I need to send a message to my master first." So, Ji Wuxin took out a celestial communication talisman, described what had happened, and sent it out. Strangely enough, after the celestial message talisman transformed into celestial light, it directly passed through the fourth grade formation. After about half an incense stick's time, a beam of celestial light flew in from outside. It was the message from the hidden sword Daoist that told everyone to wait here. He was going to find a way to send someone over to use a fourth grade immortal talisman to break the great formation. He Pingxing shook his head at the suggestion. Let alone whether an ordinary Earth Immortal can come here, even if they do, can a mere Earth Immortal open a fourth grade immortal talisman with their divine sense? Disaster. In my opinion, we should prepare for both possibilities. Fairy Pingyu suggested, while waiting for the Immortal Lord's assistance, we should also try to find our own way. Just as fellow Daoist he said, let's see if we can find a way out after accepting this demonic inheritance. All right. Ji Wuxin said, then, who should go? This is the problem. He Pingxing said, Huang Yusha and junior sister Wen have already tried it. They were easily corrupted by the demonic energy here and were unable to maintain their original intentions. Therefore, we must exclude both of them. To inherit the demonic path, the first step is to guard one's true nature. If they can't even hold onto their true selves and fall into madness like Huang Yusha before them, let alone accept the inheritance, they'll probably be killed by the demonic energy here. I'll give it a try. Fairy Pingyu volunteered. Ji Wuxin said, sure. If junior sister Pingyu has any problems, I can drag you in here anytime. All right. Pingyu looked at He Pingxing again and said, thank you both. After saying that, she walked out of the golden barrier created by Ji Wuxin's magic weapon and went outside. Sit cross-legged on the ground. The surrounding demonic energy and golden runes surged towards Fairy Pingyu. She persisted for about half an hour before she could no longer hold on. He Pingxing quickly pulled her back from outside. I'm sorry. Fairy Pingyu's face was pale. I can't hold on any longer, senior brothers. Now I can confirm one thing. This massive formation outside is definitely not just a simple fourth grade trapping formation. There should be an illusion array superimposed on top of this trapping array. We weren't truly receiving the demonic inheritance outside, we were being controlled by that illusion. He Pingxing's eyes narrowed slightly. An illusion array? Ji Wuxin said, this is good news. That's right. He Pingxing nodded and said, this is good news. The three people next to them were dumbfounded. When Buan asked, senior brother He, why do you say it's good news? He Pingxing smiled and said, look, there's only one layer of array light membrane here, but there are two arrays. Therefore, I suspect it's not two formations, but a composite formation combining a trapping formation and an illusion formation. That's right. Ji Wuxin chimed in, that's most likely the case. If it's a composite formation, then that means this formation has both the functions of confusing and trapping. Its trapping function is definitely weaker than a simple trapping formation. This is good news for us to break the formation. Even so, it is still a huge challenge for us. You all rest well here. He Pingxing glanced at the four of them. I'll go out and try. If you get any news, remember to call me. After saying that, He Pingxing took a step out and walked out of the golden barrier. Chapter 1170 Demon King's Crimson Pill. Refining He Pingxing stepped out of the golden barrier and was immediately enveloped by a large mass of grey demonic energy. Demonic energy, like immortal energy, is a type of energy that exists in the immortal realm. It wasn't born black or grey, it only turned into this color after being refined by demons. Just like how immortal energy, after being refined by immortals of the Xianmen sect, manifests in 5 colors. In essence, there is no difference between demons and immortals. The only difference is the path and method of cultivation. Of course, compared to the cultivation methods of the Xianmen, Taoist sect, the demonic sect is more radical. Countless demonic energies enveloped He Pingxing, then forcefully tried to invade his skin. Furthermore, countless golden bloodstains flew out from the demon's body, transforming into ancient runes in the void and adhering to He Pingxing's body. Based on past experience, it wouldn't be long before the immortal shrouded in demonic energy would show signs of obsession and madness. However, He Pingxing did not. He sat quietly cross-legged in the void, 3 feet above the ground. He closed his eyes in deep thought, his face serene. A gentle breeze blew, causing his clothes to flutter horizontally, making a slapping sound as they turned and rustled. He seems to be all right. Ping Yu looked at He Pingxing with some surprise. Huang Youxia's face darkened further. Ji Wuxin said, He Pingxing is the most outstanding genius I have ever seen. His talent and fortune are by no means inferior to mine. It's a pity that he somehow became the servant of the stone-gathering immortal lord. When Buan, who was standing nearby, said, No, immortal Lord Xianxia promised him that as long as he can complete the mission in this secret realm, he will return the heavenly Dao slave seal. Whispering sound. Ji Wuxin's lips curled into a cold smile. Junior sister Wen, you were born in the immortal realm and have always had people protecting you. You have never experienced the mortal world and do not know the wickedness of people's hearts. Mission complete. I'm asking you, what mission? How do we know when the mission is complete? This question left Wen Buan speechless for a moment. The 3 of you, I'll leave this umbrella here for you to use. If the golden light on it weakens, simply channel your immortal energy into it. Do it yourself. After saying that, Ji Wuxin also took a step out and walked out of the golden barrier. He came to He Pingxing's side and sat cross-legged in the air, 3 feet off the ground. He Pingxing gently opened his eyes. Ji Wuxin asked, How is it? He Pingxing said, Indeed, as Fairy Ping Yu said, there is an illusion array here. I now suspect that the 10,000-foot-tall Ghost King's body is also an illusion. As he spoke, He Pingxing looked at the Ghost King's body. From a distance, this thing looked to be hundreds of millions of feet tall. When they arrived at the destination, they found it was only a drop of 10,000 feet. It must be the illusion array at work. Ji Wuxin nodded, that should be the case, but those golden runes don't seem fake. He Pingxing said, the golden runes are indeed genuine, they are a legacy of the demon clan. Unfortunately, I know nothing about the demon clan, so I cannot comprehend them for the time being. Fellow Daoist Ji, what is this? He Pingxing looked at Ji Wuxin with a puzzled expression. Ji Wuxin said, I was afraid you would get all the benefits yourself, so I wanted to come and see for myself. He Pingxing smiled but didn't say anything. He closed his eyes again, released his divine sense, and began to perceive everything here. He Pingxing didn't know exactly how to break out of the current crisis, so he could only search for answers here. He had no intention of assimilating the demonic energy here, nor did he intend to comprehend the meaning of this demonic inheritance. I have more than enough of my own things. Why would I want to comprehend your demonic path? Am I crazy? He wouldn't pay any attention to these golden runes unless absolutely necessary. Seeing that He Pingxing had closed his eyes, Ji Wuxin also closed his eyes. Together, the 2 explored and sought the opportunity here. Time passed little by little. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. 3 years have passed in the blink of an eye. He Pingxing opened his eyes with a complicated expression. Ji Wuxin also opened her eyes and sighed. Alas, I'm afraid it won't work. Fellow Daoist He, if you want to find the answer, I'm afraid you still need to look within this cultivation technique inheritance. He Pingxing didn't answer his question, but instead asked, Is there any news from outside? Yes. Ji Wuxin said, My master said he has already sent people over, but unfortunately, neither of the two people sent were able to get here. Furthermore, he asked me how Fang Long perished, saying that Fang Long's master, immortal Lord Longxiao, is now furious. Fellow Daoist he, what do you think I should say in response? Suddenly, a smiling expression appeared on Ji Wuxin's face. He Pingxing said, do as you please, it's your freedom and has nothing to do with me. After saying that, he closed his eyes again. What to do? He Pingxing took a deep breath and made up his mind. No matter what, he would try accepting this demonic inheritance first. It's obvious that Ji Wuxin doesn't want to take the job. If he won't take it, then I'll take it. He Pingxing instantly relaxed. Rumble. Countless ancient immortal scripts shimmering with golden light surged towards He Pingxing like a tide, instantly engulfing him. Ji Wuxin, standing to the side, gaped, fellow Daoist he, you really want to comprehend the demonic path inheritance? Aren't you afraid of ruining your Xianmen heart? He Pingxing ignored him and instead focused all his divine sense on these demonic runes. Understand it. It can be quite troublesome to grasp something completely new. After all, He Pingxing had almost no prior experience with demonic arts. As it turns out, not everyone is fooled by the demonic aura here. Ji Wuxin is not insane. He Pingxing was not affected in the slightest. 45 years later, He Pingxing finally comprehended the seemingly boundless tide of golden runes. Countless golden runes flew towards him like a vast ocean, transforming into a golden point of light that merged into the depths of He Pingxing's consciousness. At the same time, the towering demonic body suddenly collapsed. It vanished into nothingness. After the demonic body collapsed, a fist-sized, crimson inner core was revealed where the demonic body had once been. This is. Ji Wuxin saw the inner core and flew out in a flash, trying to snatch it. He Pingxing simply smiled, ignoring it and making no attempt to stop him. When Ji Wuxin arrived in front of the crimson core, he wanted to take it away directly. Unfortunately, the fist-sized crimson core remained motionless in the void, as if it had been welded shut. He Pingxing spoke calmly, this is the culmination of the Demon King's life's cultivation, named Crimson Core. At the same time, this crimson pill is also the energy source for the entire Grade 4 Immortal Array. If you want to take this crimson pill, you must first refine it. Ji Wuxin asked, how do I refine it? He Pingxing said, you don't have the inheritance of demonic cultivation, so naturally you can't refine it. Step aside, let me do it. Once I refine the crimson core, the great formation will dissolve on its own. Thank you for listening to PandaAudioBooks. If you love what you hear and want to support my work, check out the PayPal link in the description. Every bit helps. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notifications bell to stay updated with all our latest audiobook chapters. We'll see you in the next one.